Alrighty. I think this time I'm going to start on a quilt. Of course, they're all going to be small. Let's see, what's the name of this one? This right here is Star and Cross. So this is what it looks like. So we're going to get started on it and get it to where we can either give it away or whatever we need to do. So, let's move it out of the way, and let's get some batting out here. This is one that I'd already cut off, and I'm like, well, I don't need to throw it away. I can find one that will work, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, I have another one here, and I wish I'm gonna get somebody to help me get a backing for it out of my bedroom, because I can't. It's too hard for me to pick up the bed and all, and Rick's back's hurting him and his stomach, so I am not going to try to get him to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this straightened out. Now look. This hit it just fine. Even though all the way around, we can handle that. Alright, now, the thing of it is this right here going to work for the backing. And hopefully it will. Hopefully we can do it in half. And, ooh boy, that's good. There's a lot of it on there. Alright. This is a piece that I got left over from something. Alright. So I'm going to put this in half. Okay, let's do it this way. That way we can see it better. Alright, if this right here will hit twice, we know that it will be a good backing for it. Oh, but yes, it will. It will. Alright, now it's time to go in there and fix the sewing machine so we can get to the sewing machine. And what I want to do is take one side of it and sew it down to where it make it a whole lot bigger. Alright, so we're going to do that. I want to open up the end of it, and we're going to have to also trim it down to where it will fit the quilt too. Alright, so I got that out of the way. I got that. Get this out of the way. The mama cat. Alright. So, now, what I want to do is I'm going to open it all the way up. Alright, let's see. I'm going to want it mainly down this way. Turn it around. Oh, come on, don't do me this way. Line it up there. There we go. We're only going to need a little bit of the of that and then put it onto something else. Another quilt. Yes. We could do that. Alright. Now. Yeah, this right here and this right here will work. Up there will work. Just line everything up. And go up. Let's see what we can do about doing it this way. Let's see. There we go. Alright. Now, scoot it up. And now, line everything up. And we're going to cut it down. I guess right here would work, because it gives us more than what we need. I always like more than what we need. We can always cut it down, but you can't never, I probably could have used that other piece and made it work. Let's see here, we got a bunch of this. That's alright, it'll go into a good quilt, won't it? Or we can cut it up for the backing, or the batting, that is. I think it'll work. We got 2 pieces here. Yeah, we got 2 big pieces here. I gotta go into a nice looking quilt. Alrighty. Now, I want to make sure. Dadgummit, that didn't hardly leave anything. Right here's my seam. Huh. Oh well. I'd rather have more than not enough. Alright, let's see what we can do. Go scoot over just a little bit. That'll work. Alright, now we want to lay everything out, make sure we have backing here. Well, why ain't it? It's wanting to bubble underneath. I don't want to bubble. Okay, that looks better. Alrighty. Now, we'll take this off. And we'll grab our pins. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here in the middle and block it in. Block it in, and then we'll come down here and we'll block this one in. And I'm just going to put big old blocks on here. I don't think that, I don't know. Let's get a pin down, and then I'll take a look at it and see how I wanna sew it down. If I can get the pins out. So far, I think this is looking pretty good. Yeah. I may end up changing it. I don't know. I know I'm going to want to go down these 2 all the way down. And go down this. Oh, so here's the end of it. Go down them 2. I don't know. Because I don't want to go down these 2. Like that. Alrighty, if I do this, if I have it looking like this, I'll have 1 down this way, 2 this way, 2 this way, 2 this way, 2 this way, then 2 and 2 and 2, and then 2 down this way, and then continue it on. That would go good. That would look good. So that may be the way I do it. So what we want to do is start in the middle of it. And in that way, we'll have it completely done.
It is Mom's Day. Happy Mom's Day to all you moms out there. Happy Mom's Day. Who would be here without moms, right? Sarah's quite the mom here. 2 kids. I don't know how many animal kids. She's a super mom here. So it's her day.
There you go. So this dude had a Trump 2024 sign in his yard and somebody kept stealing it. So he ran some electricity through it and just watched and waited, and it does not disappoint. So this dude had a Trump.
We got electrocuted.
Now, where should I start? Somebody sent me a link to a video mentioning that it is quite similar to things that I've been sharing with you. My thoughts on different items. I think this is worthy to share. All you sleuths want to look in to see if the study is valid or not. I'm sure it wouldn't take long. But at any rate, let's start the video off with this. Maybe we will even end it with this. There's nothing surprising here. That's
college student thinks that they should do away with, because they're not going to let guys dressed up like women.
Dang.
They're already, all the sporting things are going against it now because people pitch such a fit about it.
Well, you can't.
But anyhow, he thinks because they said, well, do you think we should get rid of the paralegal or the Paralympics? You know what I'm talking about, paralegal.
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Over regular Olympics. He said, well, I don't know, maybe I need to look into that. And boy, everybody started laughing. I'm like, you really do? Really? You're going to tell a person that's in a wheelchair that he don't have the right to be in the Olympics?
Look, a girl or a boy, whether they are or not, in a wheelchair is pretty well much equal.
Well, they do still have female and male in that too. I mean,
yeah.
Because it's not fair. A man's arms, I guarantee you, a man will build.
for sure.
Thinking is learned.
Hold on. I lost it. It's a Facebook thing link. Hold on a minute. Listen.
It was a study that was done in the 1960s, and it was commissioned by NASA because they wanted to know how to hire more geniuses. So they hired George Land and his team to go out and figure out what makes a genius. So they started with a group of 5-year-olds, and they gave them a creativity test. The way they defined genius was, how do you use your creative imagination to solve problems? And what they found was, of this group of 5-year-olds, 98% qualified as geniuses. Then they came back 5 years later when this group was 10 years old, and it was down to 30%. 5 years later at 15, it was down to 12%. And then I think they just kind of gave up in disgust. But George Land took it further and went out and surveyed adults and found that only 2% of adults. He attributed this to school, 100% to school, that you would take a population, 98% genius, and dumb them down to 2%. He said uncreative behavior and thinking is learned.
There you go. What do you think of that one? I know what I think about it. It's been quite clear and apparent to me for a number of years. Why and how it's apparent to me instead of me being completely engulfed into the system, I don't know. I haven't a clue. I really don't know. Don't know, but it's pretty alarming. It's pretty upsetting. Makes you wonder how, who was it? I've always said a long time ago, I always said there's a recipe. There's a recipe. Somebody figured out a recipe to train and control human beings. Somebody figured it out. Without a doubt. But it's a weird trait, isn't it? What are the negative traits? It's the love of power, money. Obviously, money does corrupt. 110% it corrupts the living shit out of most people. The love of money, power, and the willingness to manipulate your neighbor, your children, your community. Aren't those weird traits? Aren't they very, very bizarre, very destructive? What a weird thing to throw into the mix with us, right? Or maybe is it a non-human entity that is doing this to us? I don't know. No, I don't know why. But the school system is absolutely evil. Said it, you'll never change my mind. From what I've learned, from what I've observed, what I'm aware of today, you will never, ever change my mind, my stance on that. The public school system is the house of the serpent, man. I'll tell you what, it is a bad, bad place. And if you want to listen, I'll put that video up at the end of this video if you missed the message in there. But anyway, it's Mom's Day. I think today would be a great day to start off listening to the late, great Bobby Short today. I think it'd be a good thing to listen to her voice on Mother's Day, especially since a lot of those evil, dark sons of bitches did everything they could to annihilate her life and make her silent. Guess what? Didn't work. She's still here. Word for word. White Sands Missile Range, Alamogordo, New Mexico. The last letter regarding military base sightings occurred before there was any publicity regarding hair-covered Bigfoot. At the time, they were called abominable snowmen. The letter was only partially recovered by my oldest computer, vintage 1989. I pieced it together as best I could for this purpose. It came from a H.L. Seeds Norton, who claimed to have had a security clearance at the White Sands Missile Range in the late 1940s during the establishing of the complex for early day testing rocket and missile technology. The facility at White Sands is a huge complex northeast of La Cruz, New Mexico, all the way north to just south of Albuquerque. To the east is Alamogordo, situated at the edge of the Lincoln National Forest. To the west, Gila, Cibola, and Apache National Forests. This provides plenty of daytime cover for the hairy ones, nicknamed the Shooter by construction crews. Norton wrote about civilian employees there at White Sands Missile Range who quit after a nightmarish hour of screaming heard emanating out of the desert floor someplace. At some point, a spotlight was shone under the screamer, which then shot across the desert like the Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner cartoons of the 1940s and 50s, thus the nickname. Holy shit, the Roadrunner cartoons were in the 1940s and 50s? There is virtually no public discussion in the media about hair-covered wildlife forms in the 1950s, so it makes sense that the sight and sounds of what must have been a Bigfoot-like entity seemed like hellish monsters to the Mesoamerican laborers hired to pour concrete slab foundations at White Sands. If there is current activity at White Sands, I haven't heard about it, but I wouldn't be surprised. There is virtually no public discussion in the media. Okay, gotcha, in the media. There's definitely discussion about it back then, just not in the media. U.S. Army, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 82nd Airborne Division, Recondo School. The GCBRO website had an interesting upload that fit well with the idea of Bigfoot sightings in and around military installations. This one was in Hoke and Cumberland counties on the Fort Bragg installation. Here is that entry. Quote, although I marked the terrain as woody, we have been moving through the swamps all day long and emerged about 1,700 hours to fairly thick level pine forest and scrub undergrowth. We were the recon school for 82nd Airborne Division, a sort of baby rangers school where they try to cram nearly 3 months of impossible training into 3 weeks. The first sense of something odd was what I thought. Someone was pacing us, just beyond our range of vision in the underbrush. I tried to brush it off as the echo of our own footsteps in the brush. I mentioned it to a buddy. He heard it too. Just as the platoon leader for this phase, the field training exercise, began to give the operation orders, we all heard what sounded like the heavy footsteps of a man just beyond our vision, and only where there was ample brush for cover. The Black Hat, the grader of our platoon, sent 2 men out to see what it was. In the meantime, we continued on with op orders. After about 20 minutes, the 2 men returned, only to have those footsteps return as well. Here, we were trying to focus on getting the orders down and figure out exactly what our individual roles would be, and at the same time, someone was out there stomping in the brush. The Black Hat, a veteran of these training exercises and a full-fledged ranger, did not look comfortable with what he was hearing. He sent 2 more soldiers out to investigate while we tried to get back to... He sent 2 more soldiers out to investigate while we tried get back to the top OP orders.
All right. I have the middle one sewed down. The middle one sewed down. Now, either I work on this side or this side. And it really don't make no difference, because what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to roll it up. See here how much of a thing we have here? So that's why I'm always taking my pins out. And I did take my pins out, and one of my blocks kind of crumpled up. So there ain't really much I can do about that. But however, we're going to roll this up to right about here, and that way we can go ahead and get these blocks. And I'm going to go ahead and take these pins out because I don't want them pins in my way. And I'm going to take them out in there anyway. Get all layers. And then I'll bring it back, and I will do this again and sew the other side down. And that way we can go ahead and get her sewed. This is small, but it makes a good baby blanket. Alright, we're going to start with the middle one, and I can pull this out because we have extra there now. So we'll pull it down.
A little bit of typo, no big deal. By now it's getting dark, but we can still make out shapes and avoid bumping into trees. The details of anything dark moving around were not distinguishable, but the 2 guys saw it. They were moving slowly through an area. The sounds of the footsteps were coming from, trying to avoid what looked like a large shrub of some sort on the ground. They went around it. At this time, the shrub stood up on 2 legs and raised its arms over its head. These 2 real tough recondos screamed, turned tail, and ran full speed right straight through our perimeter, and likely would have kept on going had we not called them back. One guy said the thing was as high as I could hold my M16. This would make it 9 to 10 feet tall. I'm 6'2", and I voiced doubt about the actual size. He backed off the size a bit. When I started snooping around a little, I turned up some reports of Bigfoot-like creatures they called the Manchester Monster. There you go. To understand how big Fort Bragg Army installation is, it covers 2 counties, Polk and Cumberland counties. The base is sandwiched in between Simmons Army Airfield to the southeast and Polk Army Airfield to the northwest of Fort Bragg. It's a huge complex. Just like Quantico Marine Base in Virginia, the region around and on the base has a history of sightings near the ammo storage areas. What's up with that? Near the ammo storage areas. What the frick? One of those Bigfoot regulars that frequented the ammo storage areas was nicknamed the Manchester Monster. The description of this creature is the same as that of the Canadian and Alaskan Bigfoot, that is, slightly taller than most recorded height calculations in the lower 48. There were reports in the Fayetteville Observer about base sightings of the creature and a story about the Manchester Monster in the Paraglide News. Excuse me, the area around the ammo storage facility is off limits and is a massive swamp area from Black Jack Road, Riley Road, to the Manchester area at the Fort Bragg Army installation. It was said that one of the local residents saw the creature in his neighbor's yard. Another road crossing sighting occurred nearer to Simmons Army Airfield in 1988. At the time, it was believed to be the same Manchester monster reported near Blackjack Road. It was once sighted heading towards Smith Lake, which sits on the eastern side of Simmons Army Airfield there in North Carolina. Regarding the U.S. Army base at Fort Bragg, MSGT Chewy V wrote, quote, "Me and my buddies were knocking back a few at the local hooch one night. We had to hustle back to the barracks when it got late. On the way back, the three of us encountered two strange beings, black in the moonlight, that shouted us for half a mile. We jogged, they jogged. We stopped to listen, it stopped. Then in unison we turned and poured on the lung power and waving our arms wildly, causing the freaky things to peel off into the woods. Surprised that we stopped them. We kept running, double timing it back, and never said a word. No, not one word to a living soul." Ridicule by fellow soldiers or fear of a Section 8, which is old school terminology for mentally unfit for duty, often keeps on-base sightings of Bigfoot to a minimum. All right. Well, one more paragraph here. In a follow-up bit of correspondence, I pressed Chewy for a description, and he said due to the alcohol he consumed, the creature was a blur in the dark. He recalled they were black or dark and big, which he wrote in capital lettering. They might have been wearing furry stadium coats. The informant was looking for any validation that the monsters might have been Bigfoot-like creatures.
Alright. We'll start back up on the next one. But so far, so good. And we need to start cutting off all of our strings when we get done with it. So, let's get busy on trying to get this right here turned around and open up the other side. And I'll see you in the next video. Back of it. So, let's put these pins over here. And let's look at the back of it. Let's see. Yeah, this is the side. This side ain't been sewed yet. It looks pretty good. It don't look like it's any bubbly or anything. It looks just like you need to cut off these strings. Which I'll probably end up doing that while I'm waiting for it to upload. But it is going good. So, yeah, I guess.